pupils of the senior room. I think we have some budding politicians on our hands. The junior and middle rooms examine the themes of continuity and change in school life and the actual school building itself. The names of the pupils who were on the roll in Lisheen National School in 1916, together with the names of our invited guests, are now coming up on screen. So here we have the register book from 1916, and we have Mr. Alex McCarthy, that was interviewed by Marianne Collins. And here again, and we have May McGrath, or Mrs. May Hagerty. We also have Josephine Coughlin, who raised our flag today, and Michael Minihane. This was a roll on Monday in October 1916. And these were the teachers' salaries. We need to examine those closely. And the education grants. We also have a photograph that was sent to us today, and it's Captain Sean Minihan, and he was born in Minihan's Bar, and he was the first commissioned officer in the Defence Forces from Lisheen and the parish of Affidel. Just some mementos. In 2001, Marianne Collins, then a pupil in second class, interviewed Mrs. May Hagerty, Neil McGrath, and Mr. Alex McCarthy, two pupils who started school around about 1916. Miss Eve McCarthy wrote a song based on these interviews, and the junior room children won an award for their song, Lisheen 1916. This song was part of the Decade of Commemoration initiatives in primary schools, organised by the Department of Education and Science and the Education Centres of Ireland. Aidan and Kate will now read these interviews, and the school will then sing Lisheen 1916.
I met with Mrs. Hagerty on Sunday evening, 4th of February 2001. She was born in 1910 and is the oldest lady in our parish who attended Lisheen National School. She told me she started school in 1916, and at that time there were 4 teachers in the school. The girls were on one side of the school and the boys on the other. If a boy or a girl left over the wall which divided their boat, they were punished severely. There were a big and a little classroom on each side of the school, and 2 teachers for each side. The teachers at the time were Mrs. O'Regan, her daughter Mrs. McCarthy, who taught in school in later years, Mrs. McSweeney from Ballyhob area, Master Beamish from East Skibbereen, and Master O'Regan. The children in those days went to school through fields, and they wore no stockings or shoes. If their feet were dirty when they got to school, they were sent to the nearby river across from Buchanan's house now to wash their feet. Their school bags were made from flour sacks or delights. Very little Irish is taught, and their books consisted of an arithmetic book, English reader, and a jotter. They used a pencil and a nib and ink to write. If the nib in their pen broke, the teacher did not have a spare nib, and then they would not have to do any more writing that day. On the wall was a map of the world. For their lunch, they took a piece of homemade brown bread, and if they were lucky, they got a bottle of milk. At playtime, they played a game called Tape, which was similar to the game of catch today. Each child brought a bundle of sticks or a few sods of turf for the open fire. There was no electricity, no running water, and only dry toilets. The keeper came to expect them on their arithmetic and English. The states and church were breathing down the teachers' necks, and the system of the time believed in one standard of education for everyone. They did not realize that different people had different talents, and that everyone could not achieve the standard they desired. Stick and cane were used to beat the children. Children learned through fear rather than through love. Teachers were paid by the results they achieved when an inspector visited. There was also an inspector for sewing and an inspector for singing. In the sewing class, they learned how to turn a hem, do a buttonhole, and lots of different stitches. They also learned how to knit, turn heels in socks, and also how to knit the toe in a sock. There was no art, no drama, and they did not need PE, as they had plenty of extras walking to and from school. McCarthy was born in 1911, and he was the second youngest of 17 children. They wore no shoes or socks, and would collect sticks to bring to school with them to light the fire. Their school sack was made from a flour bag. When they were preparing for confirmation, they had to stay back in the church after Mass to be taught. Alex was an altar server, and he recalled having to serve Mass before going to school. One day the priest asked him to serve a second Mass, and when he got to school, the teacher beat him for being late. His hands were so sore that he could not write all that day. The next morning, the priest asked him to serve a second Mass, but he told the priest what had happened. The priest promised to come to school with him and tell the teacher. Alex arrived at school before the priest. When the priest walked into the room, the teacher was standing in front of Alex, just about to slap him. He escaped the beating, but the teacher advised the priest that if the child was not in school by 10 o'clock, then he should go home. After that, the priest changed the Mass time to 9 o'clock, and the girls could not go beyond the altar rails of the church. Running water was piped down from a pump near the priest's house in 1950. In the 1980s, a main water supply was connected. The wall dividing the schoolyard was knocked down around 1958.
Patrick Pearce, one of the Proclamation signatories, was also a poet, teacher, and as we know, a political activist. Riona will read the poem, The Wayfarer. Pearce wrote this poem on the eve of his execution, May 2nd, 1916. This will be followed by Chloe reading a verse from the Yeats poem, Easter 1916, which commemorates the Easter Rising on Easter Monday, 1916. It will then be followed by our song, Lisheen, 1916.
The Wayfarer by Patrick Pearce. The beauty of the world hath made me sad, this beauty that will pass. Sometimes my heart hath shaken with great joy to see a leaping squirrel in a tree, or a red ladybird upon a stalk, or little rabbits in a field at evening lit by a slanting sun, or some green hill where shadows drifted by, some quiet hill where a mountainy man hath sown and soon will reap near to the gate of heaven, or children with bare feet upon the sands of some ebbed sea, or playing on the streets of little towns in Connaught. Things young and happy. And then my heart hath told me, these will pass and change, will die and be no more. Things bright and green, things young and happy, and I have gone upon my way, sorrowful. Easter 1916 by William Butler Yeats. I had met them at close of day, coming with vivid faces, from counter or desk among grey 18th century houses. I had passed with a nod of the head, or polite, meaningless words, or have lingered a while and said polite, meaningless words, and thought before I had done of a mocking tale or guide to please a companion around the fire at the club, being certain that they and I but lived where motley is worn, all changed utterly, a tale of beauty is born.